Hey everyone!
Hi!
Welcome to
Creative Happy Hour
where we get drunk.
on the Creative Possibilities.
Every time, yes we do, with you creative bitches! Woo! Okay, today we are talking about something that's major. We're talking about change.
Ooh.
Why are we, yeah, it is scary.
It's scary
Change is
shit.
It's some scary shit. Change is freaking scary, but it's important to talk about it because change...
because it's pretty much
inevitable. Exactly, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. And Forbes Magazine said that change and dealing with change and being resilient in the face of change is one of the most important skills of the future.
And
so
if
we're going to
Forbes
help you
Magazine
guys.
says it,
If Forbes said it,
then you better do it.
Then you better do it, right? So
usually we say if Oprah says.
I know we do, but we changed it. We've changed it up. There you go. So there's a natural human tendency to resist change.
Yes.
Our friend, who's our friend who says that resistance? Stephen Pressfield?
Stephen
Is that
Pressfield.
him? Yes. So we
War of art.
resist, as humans, we resist change.
Yes.
But as creatives, we promote change and we also...
And we embrace it.
And we embrace change.
Yes, we do.
Sometimes, if it's the change that we wanted.
Yeah.
And often is not. So we're going to tell you guys today how to deal with change, how to embrace it, how to make the best of change, and how maybe to help people who are going through change that's maybe not very welcome.
Yeah, how to use creative mediums
Yes.
to process your change.
That's what we're going to do.
To basically just kick ass with your change.
Kick ass with change. So you guys, today we are drinking, we're making a change. We're drinking canned cocktails.
And you know what I love about this change?
What?
We didn't have to mix
We didn't have to make the cocktail.
All we had to
We're
do was
embracing
pick
this
it up
change. Let's see.
and
crack it open.
open it.
Oh yeah.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
Cling. Okay.
So what
let's
are we
try.
having? The
We're
Moscow
having
Mule?
A Salt Point Moscow Mule. Salt Point is a company out of Mill Valley, California.
Whoops,
Our
whoop.
neighbors.
Yep.
They're inspired by Northern California living. I don't know how, just what that we drink.
Is this a picture of my cousin Eric?
It might be.
How did they get a picture of him?
He's a local celebrity, I guess. I'm trying this right
That's
now.
good. Okay.
It is only 10% alcohol, 20 proof.
Oh,
That's nothing.
that's nothing compared to that little Bushido thing that we drank.
Bushido.
That was
Yeah.
18%.
Okay, this is kind of tasty. I mean, if you're on the go, I'm saying
On the go.
on the go.
Do
Driving.
not drink this on the go, people.
Creative Happy
unless-
Hour does not condone drinking irresponsibly, drinking and driving,
No.
or drinking on the go with your children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless you're getting an Uber,
Yes. Then you can drink on the go.
and then you can drink on the go.
See, Uber is progress. Like, nobody thought that people would actually get into a stranger's car and tool around town. But look at us, change. We embraced it, and we're Ubering
And,
all over
yeah.
and drinking our canned
On
cocktails.
the go.
Let's do some tasting notes, shall
Yeah,
we? Let's
tasting
try
notes.
it.
Wait, Moscow Mule.
Moscow
okay.
Mule, it's going to kick us in the ass. Let's see.
Oh, Moscow's a place that's been through some change.
Exactly, that's what I thought. I thought it was even better. I thought change kicks us in the ass, and I thought Moscow is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, so we get the ginger. I'm getting the ginger beer.
lots of ginger beer. I'm getting the lime for show.
Yeah, for show. I'm getting some lime, vodka, not too much of that.
Yeah, minimal vodka. That's a trickster.
Right? They claim that their vodka is like super uber duper special vodka, but I don't see like anywhere, and natural botanicals. I don't
Well.
see any ingredients, do you? No. I don't
Well,
see any
that's
calorie
okay.
count either, do you? No. We're going to embrace
We're
that
not exactly
change, too.
girls that count calories. I mean,
We're not good at math, so it doesn't matter. If you told us that it was like whatever calories, we'd be like, okay.
okay.
But you've been wearing a Fitbit. That's another change. Hello.
Yes, I've been tracking.
Change in Micah's life.
I've been tracking.
She's been tracking
everything.
sleep, tracking calories. She's a real pain in the ass since she
Yeah.
started doing that.
Yeah, everybody at work is pissed off because I'm like,
Sure.
I got 8,000 steps.
Yeah, she's like,
And
she's
they're like-
jumped on the frickin'.
They're like, well, it didn't look like you did anything, so I don't know how you got that thing. Lies.
That thing, it is a lot. Remember how frustrated you got when it lied to you about how many steps you did? And you were like,
Yeah, I put 2
pissed.
hikes in, and
was so
it was
pissed.
reducing my steps.
yes. And she was angry. So that's one step to embracing change. Don't get pissed off. Like, just
Yeah.
sit back, simmer down,
Yeah.
and then deal with the change.
Don't get too committed to your technology where you think that it
Yeah, you shouldn't do
cares
that. Don't
about
embrace.
you.
See, that would be embracing like the status quo, and you can't
Yeah,
do that.
no.
You can't do that.
No, it's not
So-
creative.
So let's.
So
talk,
what do we got for this change
What do we got?
episode?
What do we got? So, well, the thing about, so I talked about the Forbes thing about change being a really important skill. The other thing is, I mean, notice how like climate change and all these other, like, change is growing exponentially.
Yeah.
You know, technology is increasing so fast. Speaking of your Fitbit, you know, the things that we use, the things that make up our day-to-day life. I mean, our lives have changed more in the past year or 2 years than our ancestors' lives would change in 50 years. I mean, it's change is happening.
So you're saying that we need to respond
We need
creatively.
to freaking, get with the program.
Yeah.
And respond creatively. And not only do we need to just respond and deal with it, because so many people talk about accepting change. And I'm saying, kick change in the butt and make it be your bitch. Like,
harness it.
Harness it.
Harness it.
In English, it would be harness it.
I mean, she thinks I don't know any big vocabulary words.
I don't think that. I just swear them words.
I usually just can't say them.
That's true. Because
I know them. I just can't
they don't
articulate
come out at that
them.
point. I know. I'm the one who comes out, though, with like the big swear words and then the big other words. And so I'm just like, yay, it balances out.
But whenever you swear, it never sounds like you're swearing.
I sound like a fucking lady. I know.
I know, it's so weird. How do you do that?
It's a talent of mine. It's a talent.
It is.
You know, so change can be painful and it can be positive. And I think that changes are always an opportunity to move forward and to improve things and to look at things in a different way. So we're going to talk about, you know, what are the advantages to change? I have a list because that's what I do.
Do you want me to guess at some of them?
Sure.
The advantages?
Yeah, some of the advantages of change.
She
knows I always want to play guessing games. Always like, oh,
like,
yes.
can we
And
play
she's
a
like,
game?
F you, I don't want to guess. Yeah, go ahead. I mean,
okay, so the advantages of change is that you get to have this whole new experience.
Sure, I like that. I mean, novelty is one of the advantages of change.
Yeah.
But what does that do? I'm thinking deeper. I'm thinking like, you know, so
She wants me to drink this and go deeper?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
See, I'm looking for change here.
I mean, this is happy hour,
for a change.
people.
For a change. So, no, one of the advantages of change is personal growth, right?
Yes,
I mean,
that's
you
true.
get to see how you react to the change. You get to be kind to yourself in the face of the change and grow a little bit as a person because, you know, you grow more, you know, I think being intellectually curious when it comes to a change is kind of major because so many of us just react and we're like, we run around. We're all
I was
freaked
just
out.
listening to the interview with Bob Iger. I guess it's name Iger.
I'm not going to contradict. You know me and names.
Bob Iger.
That dude. I don't know.
He's like
some dude.
He like runs Disney or something.
Yeah, some little chum. I mean, whatever.
He's like the guy that like runs all of Disney. But
hey,
he was just interviewed by Oprah, and he talked about exactly what you're. He talked
you
about.
mean he copied me?
Basically, he said it before you did, but
he copied me like kind of in the future. Like you don't know what time is just construct, Micah.
It's true.
He's copying.
It's true. I mean, if
In
you
the
know
future-
anything about quantum physics,
In the future, you
would
can
know.
manipulate time, so he's copying me. Like,
Well,
it's
time doesn't even
circular.
exist.
It doesn't exist. So, hello, he copied me, period. I'm just telling you that in the quantum universe,
Yeah.
our thing about change
Is-
supersedes his. What is he, some Disney thing? Come on.
What is he, like some kind of
Some Disney freak?
figment of my imagination?
Exactly. It's like, it's a small world after all, but he copied me. So, just saying. So, what was he saying? Okay, what was he saying? Let's pretend we care about what he was saying about you.
Oh God, what wasn't he saying? I mean, now
that
that you completely destroyed my
This Iger dude.
I don't even remember what he said now.
You know what? It's because he didn't say it. See?
No, it was right on the tip of my tongue, and you were like, I was getting ready to say it
I'm
because
so
you
sorry.
said it, and then whatever.
See? Oh, so we're back to the fact that I said it first. Good. The good thing
I
about
shouldn't have
cans is
any
you
more
don't
of
break
this.
your teeth on them when
Yeah,
you
when
start
you,
to laugh.
like,
yeah, it's good. When you dive into the can. Okay, so
Wait, repeat that last advantage.
personal. That was the first advantage.
The personal growth, but
Personal
the
growth.
curiosity thing. That was the
well,
thing.
intellectual curiosity in the face of
Yeah,
change.
so basically that was one of the things that he was saying that
did
when he hires people to, you know, work at Disney, and we're not talking like the hot dog stand at Disney. We're
We're not talking about being in
we're
the
talking about
Pluto
the people
costume
that
where you get to
no.
beat up kids.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was talking about those positions.
Those
but
people they're changing a lot because like when you beat the crap out of the kid, they
you have to
hire
go
a
in
new
and then
one.
you have to be Cinderella. Then
you
you
do.
got to go in and be Pluto.
Yeah.
Then you got to change.
Pluto's
and be,
usually the aggressive one.
then you
That's
got to
the other
be
one.
Shrek or whoever.
Shrek. I think that's Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Doesn't matter.
All I mean, don't they like all own
They're all the
each
same.
other?
They're all the same conglomerate.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's
It's
what I
fine.
thought.
Yeah.
No, but he was saying that the curiosity part is a significant part of getting people to constantly embrace change.
Yes.
And be able to promote personal growth, and that it's like, if you're curious, then you're going to be seeking things out that are promoting your personal growth,
and you're less resistant
the growth of your culture, and the growth of the environment that you're in, and the community that you're in. If you're someone that has a fixed mindset and you're just not open to certain things, you're gonna be like, well, I don't do that.
Right. A, you're not gonna seek out change, but B, when change comes your way, it's gonna kick you in the ass.
Yeah.
And it's
gonna take you down.
Exactly. And change can take you down. So that's the thing, it's just so easy for that to happen.
Yeah.
And that's why we're not mocking you if you've gone through a change and that it sucked. Because that's happened to all of us. What we're saying is, we understand, and that's another thing. So that's another thing. One of the advantages is that we see how equal we are when it comes to this sort of thing. I think it knocks us down a few little pegs, and that we can be a little bit more understanding.
We joke about it all the time. In Creative Happy Hour.
We joke about everything all the time.
We joke about everything all the time. But there is a serious element to our joking, right? We're here to essentially lift people up, and
we're here to be Oprah.
encourage you to embrace change
completely, and creativity. Awesome. Yes. So, okay, another thing that change does. This is a fun little exercise, actually. If we would put down our drinks, we can try. Okay, so change creates flexibility, and flexibility in ways of thinking. And the way it does that is that you start to see that change is not such an extreme thing. It's just a different, it's delivering different sensations in a way. Okay, so this thing where when you're in yoga and they're clasp, your hands.
Oh yeah, and then they change the thumb placement,
and it feels so freaking weird.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay, that's change. That's
can I admit to something? I never do it.
I know! That's resistance to change. See? I sometimes skip out on that too, because it feels weird, right? It doesn't necessarily feel bad.
I have done it, but I don't generally do it.
I know. Resistance to change, I'm telling you. See, that's incredible. That's the thing where now I kind of sensed that resistance to change. So I did that little extra where I was like, what the hell? It doesn't even feel like you're doing the same thing.
No.
You're just changing your thumb. It is so bizarre, you guys. You have to try it. We're not crazy. We're not drunk. Maybe a little drunk, but
so when you go to yoga class,
do it. Just do it.
We know there's some creatives that are doing yoga.
There's just some little,
couple yogas, yogis out there.
a couple yogis, whatever the hell you are.
But change your thumb and see what happens.
Freaking thumb. And when they and see what happens and see what that sensation is.
And I think it's those little moments where you do take the risk to change your thumb.
Yeah, take that risk.
That you practice.
Go crazy, go wild.
Woo! No, I think it's those little moments where you practice, I lived through that. I can handle this.
I survived the great thumb switching of 2019.
It'll make you more open to change.
Yes.
I don't have to drink my coffee at the same goddamn coffee shop every single day.
So that's a really good thing. So that's another advantage to change.
Yeah.
Change can create a snowball effect. So when you have a little change, so you have a little change. Okay, let's say you change your coffee shop. Sure. That can change what you're having for breakfast. And that's going to change maybe how fat you are. And that's going to change.
Well, I was thinking more you meet a hot guy at this new coffee shop.
No, hey, that's another thing.
Then all of a sudden,
you start to take care of yourself and
you're
do
working
new things,
out
see new people, be having lots of sex. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the snowball effect. That's kind of massive, and that can be great. Some of the changes that come can be a little negative because the hot guy turns out to be an asshole,
you're not sleeping
at night, whatever.
Because you're staying up all night.
Yeah, but embrace those changes and see the other ones and see those snowballs. And also try to see what's positive and what's negative. Be objective about it and be like, okay, some of these I don't have a choice, but some of them you do. So keep that in mind. I think that's always good. So
let's relate it back to creativity, which is what you're probably going to do next, right?
All the time, yeah. And see, I'm so predictable in the face of change.
That doesn't change.
For example, think about this, improvements. So change is such a great tool when it comes to your creativity. So, okay, when you have a change, let's say you have a change that could be construed as negative. Like you move to someplace that, let's say you need to move to the hood. because like your financial situation's gone down, right?
So you need to move to a place that they don't really have like a Whole Foods anymore.
Sure. Or you need to move to a space where like, it's not as comfortable, this and that. But what are the things that could be improvements to your life, especially your creative life? Like, hey, I live in the hood, but I happen to walk by this thing and there's actually this studio space that's shared. And for $50 a month, I can share a studio with a bunch of creatives. Or, hey, I now live further from work, but I'm going to use that as an opportunity to go walk to work and kind of get my creative thoughts in order earlier in the day. Or, hey, I now live further away, I have to take the bus. I'm going to take this as an opportunity to build community, because I'm meeting all these new people along my way or in my new coffee shop or whatever. Like, that's a great opportunity.
I like the new coffee shop situation.
New coffee shop situation. You know what? We could
I don't even go to the
let's
coffee
just
shop.
cut this whole episode out and just do like the new coffee shop. That's our theme today.
That's what
I'm embracing this change.
I mean, if you can just go to a new coffee shop.
Yeah. Hey.
If you can commit to that, you can change anything.
If you can cross your phone the other way, you can commit to almost anything.
But we're just saying that there's probably more people that drink coffee than do yoga. That's what I'm thinking. We could take a poll.
We live in Northern California, and I would say that that's expressly false. Because there are more people that drink green tea than drink coffee here.
No,
Seriously.
I think these people are hardcore coffee drinkers.
Do you?
I think you should tell us.
I think we should run a poll. Yeah, let's comment down below. So if you're green tea or coffee or kombucha or whatever the hell you do,
I
or
think
if you do
they
yoga,
act
we need
like
to
they're
know.
green tea, but I think they're coffee drinkers.
Yeah, maybe they weren't able to make the change. So here's another advantage to going through a change, is the radical shift in perspective that you have. It allows you to think like an outsider. And thinking like an outsider, like when you look at your situation from the outside and you go, wow, what is this? What does this mean? You start to see some of your habits, some of your patterns, some of the
so
things
you can
that you
see
thought,
things that you wouldn't see from the inside, is what you're saying.
and you can see them for what they are, and you can see things, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. Like, so I recently moved, when I moved back here, I moved to a tiny house. And I started looking at it from the outside. I mean, I've always lived in huge houses.
Yeah.
And moving to a tiny house has been a huge change in perspective. And I started looking at this whole thing as an outsider and going, well, what do I need? Like, now I've come to the conclusion I need a separate bathroom for my husband and I need a bigger closet. But other than that, the tiny house is freaking awesome. And looking at it as an outsider, I'm now like, why would you need, then I think, why do I need a bigger closet actually? That's stupid.
Why
like,
would you pay for more space?
Yeah, why would you pay for more space? But also like looking even at the closet issue, which is resistance, then I think, okay, I actually could wear less clothes. Like, I don't need everything that I have.
Yeah, I think our viewers would like it if you wore less clothes.
A lot less. Yeah, I'll just go nude. Like, I think some viewers would like it and some would not. But some would embrace the change and some wouldn't. It's fine. Some would be uncomfortable. Just like with the thumbs, it's fine. But I think that that's a really cool thing. Like, play this game. It's called the alien game.
Oh.
If you're in a situation and you sit there, you pretend that you're an alien from another planet.
Oh, I like that.
And you look at the whole situation, you go, what actually makes sense? And what is just a construct that we've embraced as something that needs to be? What can we change? What shouldn't we? What do we want to change? And I think that's kind of fun. So that's kind of neat. I also think that change brings on resilience.
It does. It does.
And that's kind of the bummer, because there's things that people tell you, like when you're having a really shitty time.
It's
like,
really
you're
cliche.
building resilience.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck you.
It does, though. I was having this conversation with my boss tonight, and it's, I was kind of talking about how, in the past 3 years, I went from doing a sales position to going back to dentistry.
It's had a huge amount of change.
To finally going back, finding this position, which I love, but, just all of that change, and then being in an office where people have been there for 30 years.
Yeah.
And seeing
so you can play
how
the alien game.
Yeah, so how resistant they are to change, and how frustrating it can be for him to come in and try to change things.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's so much resistance.
Right. But I think for you, going through all those changes, like, you have learned exactly how resilient you are, which you now see that you completely are. You're like, I'm capable of saying I need to take on this job, on weekends that I don't particularly love, but I did it because it served a goal.
Right.
And a purpose. And I'm also able to dump it and then deal with what comes after I do that.
Yeah,
like,
well, we hope so.
we hope that's going to happen. But you've learned to do that. And I think that you derive a strength from that. And that's like a really positive feeling to know that you can go through the changes.
You get this feeling of like, okay, I know how to do what I have to do. And you can draw from that strength. You
Totally,
can draw from that
totally.
experience.
Yeah,
You know,
and
when you go
yeah.
through something,
Exactly.
you know,
exactly.
I think then, I mean, you can look at it as like, oh, that was a bad experience and I never want to experience it again.
Well, that's even
Or
useful too, though. But that's useful too because, like, knowing
then you
that
can make boundaries.
Totally.
You make
Totally.
boundaries.
Like, knowing that you can actually kind of try to protect yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't avoid all changes, but you can definitely try to set yourself up to deal with things better as they come. And we're going to talk about, I mean, I have moved a lot in the past.
Yeah,
A lot. I'm like a goddamn gypsy. But I'm going to talk later about that. I mean, I've become very resilient when it comes to moving because a lot of people, if you told them, oh, you're going to leave all your friends, leave your house, sell your car,
Yeah.
move across the country, people would freak the fuck out. And I've done that, like 4 times in the past 10 years?
Yeah.
5 times.
Yeah,
I've moved
like
countries, I've moved
yeah.
coasts, it's like
It's
ridiculous.
crazy.
But I've learned something from that and I've actually grown creatively from that. So we'll talk about that in our section about embracing change. But let's keep going on why change is kind of good. I mean, and we're not talking about change where like somebody keels over. Like that's not awesome, but that's one where you would learn the resilience eventually. You wouldn't like it.
I mean, the
But
reality is
you
things
have
are going to happen good or bad, and
Yes.
they're going to change regardless.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, that's just the way life is.
That's a life lesson that I think you really need because so many people try to hold on to everything that they have
Yeah.
and everything that they are and everything that people around them
I
are.
feel like I'm going to sneeze. Oh, no, it's going to happen.
Whoa.
Usually they come in twos.
Uh-oh. Okay, we're going to
No, but I don't feel the other one.
That's a change.
really weird.
That's a change.
That's really weird.
Okay, so another thing that happens with change is that there are new opportunities.
Yes.
So, you know, that new coffee shop, maybe you're going to meet a new person who is going to offer you a new job, or maybe you're going
Yeah.
to meet a person that you can have an art show with, or you're going to meet, you're going to sneeze, I can tell.
No, I'm
Really?
not. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm good.
If you don't,
I'll let you know. I'll tell you.
okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, have you ever had a change happen where that gave you new opportunities? I'm sure you've had a million. Come up with the
Oh,
best interesting
yeah.
one.
I mean, I've had lots of them in my life.
No shit, I want specifics. Hello.
Oh, God, specifics.
One thing that'll never change is I will always put Micah on the spot.
God.
Always.
Oh, you mean like,
Opportunities that came out of change. For example, when you switched jobs and you started working for your brother, you met a ton of interesting people.
I did, and I learned all kinds of skills that I carry with me. Yeah, I mean, I kind of got launched. I kind of got launched into this, you know, design build world, and yeah, I met tons of people. I learned all these different aspects about myself. I was doing something that was more creative.
You were meeting different kinds of people.
Yeah, and I was
yeah.
out of this world of, you know, the dental clinical world,
Which is
like
restricted. That's like
all of a sudden
everybody
I
knows
was
each
like,
other.
oh,
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
There's something else out there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was definitely, yeah.
And you were inspired also by the materials. I mean, I know that when we were having our little creative happy hours at my house 10 years ago,
Yeah.
you would bring over some wood and we'd bring over some, you know, and you were super, super into the materials. And that was creatively something that kind of inspired you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely kind of get really geeky about whatever it is I'm into.
I think that's
at
a
the
great
time.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's a great advantage to change. If you do have a tendency to kind of plunge into things and be kind of geeky, that's an awesome way to deal with it. So, you know, on the same thing is, you know, new beginnings, you know, and that's kind of also what I'm talking about with moves, like with extreme moves. Like, that's a total new beginning. And we're going to talk about how not to squander that new beginning, because that's major. Like, when you're in the same place, that resistance happens. The resistance happens not only because of yourself, but because of your environment, because of the people around you are all encouraging the resistance. They're all encouraging the status quo because everybody's scared of the change.
Right.
You know, your friends don't want you to move away. They don't want to see you starting some new project because that's weird for them.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard. Like, entrepreneurs have this all the time, especially creative entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Their friends are their biggest critics because they're afraid of the change that's going to happen.
Yeah.
If they start to encounter success or if they become a new kind of person.
Yeah.
You know, it's really scary for people around you. And that's a change. Like, when you see your friend going through this whole thing, you're like, no, don't do it. You know, even some people, like, their friends in a bad relationship and they almost have this reaction.
Are you talking about me being in a bad relationship?
I'm not. No, it's not always about you. No, I'm talking about not that one.
Not about that one.
No, I was very direct about that one.
Yeah.
No, but when your friend when your friend's in a bad relationship,
checking my
she's
steps,
checking her.
people.
She's so crazy. When you're in a bad relationship, like your friends sometimes are like, "Is it that bad? Do you really need to go?" Because they see the change coming, and they're like, they're gonna become a whole new person if they dump this sorry person's ass.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have a different schedule. They're gonna have a different lifestyle. They're gonna have a different, way of being, and it's scary for the people around you. And I see it. Like it's
yeah. So when Paul and I were having our little like romantic scuffle recently,
your kerfuffle.
or kerfluffle.
Yeah,
I can't even say it. I can't even say it.
I like it.
Yeah. So
anything in awful.
you sat me down one night after Creative Happy Hour, and you're like, "So what are we gonna do about this situation?"
I needed to know.
I was like, "What do you mean? What are we gonna do about this situation?"
I needed to know.
Like,
it's all about me.
I was like, "We're in some kind of fight. Like, whatever. Like, it'll."
I was like, no, I need to know.
You're like, are you going to break up? Are you going to stay?
Because I need to kind of know.
Yeah, I need to know where this is going. Are you going to start dating? Is this going to be some kind of thing?
What does this mean for me?
Is this interruptive? I mean, are you going to try to work it out? And I was like, I hadn't even thought about it.
I was like, well, you better start thinking, Mike.
Yeah, she's like, you better figure this out.
Don't be irresponsible.
I don't need, yeah. No, I mean, she was very upset about it.
Very, yes. Very.
And then I was like, oh, great. Now I have to deal with this, and I have to figure out what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
What did I say? Do you remember?
You were just kind of like freaked out, and then you left, and I was like, figure it out, Micah. As you left, I was like, figure it out. I was like, I have a little peephole through my door, and I was like, figure it out.
Yeah. I was like,
you figured it out. We're good. We're good.
We're back to stable.
We're back to stable. We're happy. We're just like now, we're fully embracing the situation because this is good.
She likes the stability.
I do.
She doesn't like it when I'm dating or I'm broken up.
No, I like you in a nice stable relationship or single as fuck. That's what I like. One or the other. That's all I have to say. Because the dating is just too much. Like it's too much doubt for me. It's too much unknown. I just don't know. I just want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you need to be more curious about it.
No, because I have enough change in my life that I embrace. I don't need to have it heaped on top of the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
That's a lot for me to take on. I feel like we need a therapist on our show.
Put the love shrine back on your wall.
Yeah.
Just do that.
I haven't done it.
Bitch! Put it back on your wall. She had the love shrine on her wall.
Yeah, so, yeah.
You put a partial love shrine on your wall.
I did.
I mean, partial. I'm like, how dare you? Either take it off, break it apart, and have it be gone, or
it's
have
not
the
partial.
full
No,
love
what
shrine
I told
with
her
flowers
is
and love notes.
What I told her
songs.
was that I'm reimagining our next phase of our relationship. So I'm still in the creative process about where that's going.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay.
It's romantic.
It's beautiful. It does sound more stable than what. Yeah, it's beautiful. God, we're not gonna start with that again. Okay, yeah. So that is fine. You can reimagine within the bounds of what I have decided. But you know what's
happening is the wall is so empty.
Don't change.
Like I can't seem to figure out. Whenever she like a giant dream catcher.
Okay, catch some good dreams that aren't going to create change in my life is all I have to say.
Oh
Selfishly.
I know. She's like, change,
one of the things not to do. Don't be selfish about your friends changing.
Yeah. And then she's like, don't break up with your boyfriend.
I know.
I don't care if he's beating you. I need things stable.
I need things very stable because it's all about me. If he was beating you, I'd beat him up and be done. We'd be fine because I deal well with that change. Okay, so how do we deal with change in the best possible, creative, awesome way? I have a list. This is what I do.
Yeah,
this is
she's
how I deal
so
with change.
listicle.
I'm listicle. I make lists because it makes me feel better. It makes me feel that I can control some things in my life.
Yeah.
It's always good. So, acknowledge that things are ever changing.
Yeah. And they're chaotic.
And they're chaotic.
And they're crazy.
Like, acknowledge that. And that's the thing where, like, I mean, I joke with you about, like, no, change, no. But I mean, yeah, let's acknowledge that we know that things are always changing and there's always a flux. I mean, when I was moving away from Marin years ago, you were very zen about, you're like, you'll be back. I don't care. You'll be back. And
I was very zen about. I knew that you would be back because, like, where the hell were you gonna go?
I know. Like, what the hell? Like, what was I thinking?
I was like, where the hell is she gonna go?
Exactly. So acknowledge that it's changing, because I think that just acknowledging that things can change and that is happening, like that kind of deals a lot of comfort. And I think that then in the back of your mind, you're kind of dealing with it and understanding and planning and doing all that good stuff. So that's a good one. Realize that even good changes can cause stress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like whether you broke up with your boyfriend or got married to your boyfriend, it could still cause stress either way for me and for you.
Yeah, mostly for you.
No, for you too. You have to acknowledge that change creates stress, but it does. Like even the good stuff, like the good stuff. When you have a baby, it's incredibly fucking stressful.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, and then you get a little puppy. That's stressful as hell. You get a new job, like that's fun, but like it's stressful, and you know
it is. I mean, it's funny because kind of the when did I start working at this job? Like 5 months ago. I
can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like flashing before my eyes.
No, it's not.
No, I started in July, August,
it's
September,
months,
October. Yeah, so we're on month 4, and and it's like the honeymoon period is kind of, and today I was like,
it's ebbing, but I think it looks like it's a good progression.
No,
though.
it's very good. It's
great.
very good. But there's I'm kind of like, oh, all the things that I thought I was going to change in the office, and I was going to forego this, and I was going to do that, and it's like they're like, yeah, you're not going to do that because we've been doing this for 30
resistance.
years, and we've got a culture that's already this, and and so I mean that was the reason that I listened to the Bob Iger interview, because he talks about and I know my boss wants to innovate all of these things.
Right.
Because he bought the practice just maybe like 3 months before I got there.
Right. See, so I'd like to talk about that. So when a change happens and you're talking about you got there and you're thinking, oh,
yeah, I'm like, yeah, we're going to do this.
You're super gung-ho at the beginning. So my
then you
huge
just
piece of advice.
Piss off a bunch of people.
That's fine. Who cares? Like, I don't care about pissing off people. Clearly. Clearly I don't. But here's the thing. When you initiate that change.
Yeah.
It is capital. Like, remember that stupid 5-second rule that we always laugh at?
Yes.
Okay. Mel Robbins.
I use it. Thank you,
We
Mel.
laugh at you all the time, but like, sometimes you're right.
We love you.
We love you anyway. You need to initiate all of the changes that you thought you would make, or at least try to
in
right
the
away.
first 5 seconds.
In the first 5 seconds. Like, I mean, close to it. And that's what I do. Like, when I move, so let's talk about that whole thing. Like, when I move, you break that resistance and you break that lethargy. You break that thing where you're stuck in your habits by changing immediately.
Well, my boss and I, we have this whole, like, we have this joke, and it's like, it's the cliff joke. Because we're like, oh, we're going to take those chairs and we're going to chuck them over the cliff.
And then it's too late.
And those lights, and we're going to throw them over the cliff.
Yeah.
And we're like, that's going over the cliff.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a couple things we've already thrown over the cliff, but we can't make the changes fast enough.
Yeah, and you really do, I think, need to start making those changes before
I mean, he should have
that
bulldozed
inertia.
the building, huh?
Right?
Yeah.
Before the inertia kind of happens, because inertia will happen. You get right back into a very good, like, it seems like you move somewhere and you have all these changes and that it's never gonna feel normal again. But believe me, it happens so fast that things start to feel normal and comfortable, and inertia sets in so fast.
Ooh,
so
I
every
don't like
time
inertia.
I don't like inertia either. Like, creatives don't like inertia, but it happens. Like, you blink and you've gone 5 months and you're like, fuck, I've already been at this job for 5 months, and inertia is starting to happen. So what I think is, when I move or when I change situations or there's a change, I love to jump into a new creative project.
Oh.
Because that is the way.
Yeah, you've always done that.
Yeah, I've always done that, because you can then circumvent the people around you who would be like, stop, stop, stop. You can circumvent the situations because you don't know. You come into a new situation, you can be kind of rude, and you're the alien who's coming in. You're like, I don't know how this works. I don't know what your, habits and what your traditions are. Like, I'm going to break them. And there's a little forgiveness that happens for that time.
Right. Because you're too dumb. You don't know.
You're too dumb.
You don't know what you're
doing.
doing. You haven't done.
Totally. Like, I think play dumb is awesome. A lot of people, when I look at things like psychological stuff that says like how to deal with change, what I love, one of the things was that like getting back together with somebody is as much of a stress as breaking up with somebody. And I was like, that's hilarious. But
wow.
Right. But what they say in all of this psychology stuff is like, try to maintain a schedule, try to, eat well, and try to exercise.
Get
and
a lot
like,
of sleep.
Yeah. And I'm like, all of that shit is
Speaking of sleep,
she's been tracking her sleep too. And I don't know.
I didn't get 8 hours last night.
Uh-oh. She said she was going to be like this time, but it didn't happen. But that's
what are you talking about? I was
do it again. So, but I think that when you
film.
right when you try to keep that same schedule and those same habits, and you try to make sure that you're eating right and sleeping right, maybe
that's not embracing change.
It's
because
not. I think that
how
change.
how can you change if
Right.
yeah, if
I
you're
kind of
just
like to be in like kind of a short manic phase when you first go through a change, so that you can create that snowball effect. And that's not going to happen forever. I mean, you're not naturally manic, but it's kind of, I mean, some of us are not naturally manic. What? Are you looking at me?
I was like,
what?
I mean, I don't have any kind of diagnosis over here. I don't know what kind of diagnosis you've had.
I'm just hyperactive, okay? Stop.
I mean,
stop.
Is there anything you want to tell people?
Just hyperactive.
Yeah.
A little attention deficit. Okay, so does everybody. I'm just saying.
A little panicky,
maybe. But no, but that manic thing's not going to last forever. I mean, you're going to go through those troughs and just,
what if it does last forever? What the hell do you do then?
Hi! Yeah, it might. So, okay, here's another little exercise. When you're going through a change, and if you're feeling like you're going, want,
yeah,
write down the positives that have happened with your change. If you change your job or you've changed, write down all those positives. And if there aren't enough positives on your list, make some fucking positives happen. Is all
make it up.
Make it up and make it happen. Fake it till you make it. Fuckers. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry I'm being a little mean, but change is the opportunity to do this. It's uncomfortable. It's not easy. Freaking take advantage. Why would you just suffer through the change without having some benefit to it? Is what I have to say.
No, I agree.
And come on now. And so here's another fun thing: is accept the change and reframe it.
I love reframing.
Don't you
stuff.
like? Okay, so tell me about reframing, because.
Well, I mean, just taking a narrative and reframing it. One of the things that I always tell my daughter is we're not poor, honey. We're European.
Exactly. I love that.
And Europeans live in small spaces.
And they have other things in life that are important.
Their lifestyle's more important than the house they live in.
Absolutely.
And not that you don't live artfully, or you don't have a nice place to live, or it's not clean, or whatever, but it's you just I'm getting a call. It's probably my kid. Oh no, I got 10,000 steps, people.
Woo!
And I was
10,000
sitting
on your ass. It's amazing. Probably I'm bouncing on the sofa.
Now I am starting to question whether this thing is lying.
It's lying. It's fine. Change is about lies. Okay, so sorry. So you reframed it, which I love, and I think that reframing.
Yeah, so you just reframe the narrative. It's like, I'm not,
I'm not poor. I'm, just focusing on the things that matter.
I'm not starving. I'm just fasting. I'm not drunk. I'm just drinking.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not drunk. I'm drunk on the creative possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Yeah, so I mean, there's all different.
Companies do that. Creative entrepreneurs do that. When they fail, which you fail because that's an ingredient.
I'm not failing. I'm redesigning.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I'm not failing, I'm pivoting.
Yeah.
I'm not failing, I'm experimenting.
Yeah.
And they will reframe that, and then they will spin that into a new narrative. It's not a lie. It is a reframing, and it becomes part of their story.
Well, it's a way of turning something that seems overwhelming and negative into something that is progressive and positive.
Totally.
It's all of a sudden it's oh, you're moving forward because you're doing this other thing. It's not.
Yes.
And it's and most things are, I think, the brain and the body goes where the brain tells it to go, right?
Yeah, so they're what do they say? They say free your mind and your ass will follow.
Yeah, exactly.
I always like to bring it to something
really elegant. Yeah, ladylike and art and just so eloquent. But no, I mean, I kind of feel like, and I've tried it out on myself, because what do I have to lose? I don't have anything to lose, right?
Right. Well, I mean
when you have nothing, you have further to climb.
When you've hit rock bottom, you can just use that to bounce.
Yeah.
So there's a psychotherapist actually that I know. I'm not his client, so I can. True story.
I'll find out the truth.
True story. No, this psychotherapist, he's very interesting. Dr. Ishizuka. He's not my doctor, I swear to God. But if he was my doctor, I'd be
I'll find out.
Loud and proud. But he would always say, when people would come to him and say that they had depression, they'd hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
He says, that's great. That's where you need to be. You need to hit the bottom of the pool so that you can push yourself
you can swim back up.
Yeah. And I think that's amazing.
Well, it's a reference point. It's a reference point.
And change will do that to you. It's setting a new reference point that you can kind of start anew from. And I think that that's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
You know, creatively, I think that's great. Also, manage your stress. Like, acknowledge your stress and manage your stress. And I think it's important to know that, like, okay, yeah, I'm not 100%. Like, I went through this change. I've tried to reframe it. I've tried to take action. I've tried to be positive, but I'm still stressed or still depressed. Like, admit that and maybe either get the help you need or a support network. Like, that's really important. Like, I think that when you're going through a change, support groups or social groups or a professional group, these things are really, like, you have in your dental office, you've got a huge support group of people who've been there for a long time, who are your friends, and if you have a problem, you come to them.
Totally.
That's major. When I moved to when I moved to LA, I didn't know anyone, and LA is a massive city, and I was like, I am not going to make friends in a yoga class. Like, this is not happening. So I joined a group of people who worked from home, they were like, I work from home, but I'm not a homebody. I was like, this is for me. That's me. So I went there a couple times and met those people who were exactly on the same page.
Yeah.
And that was such a great support. But I think any change, like, you know, if you have a partner that passes away, or if you have a child that has some kind of, like, you can go to a support group for that.
I mean, having a child with an illness or
anything.
something can be very isolating.
Very isolated. Like, I think a lot of changes, going through a lot of changes can be isolating, and you think you're alone in the world, but you're not. Like, a lot of people are going through something that's, if not exactly identical, at least similar, and you can find some points of reference and you can find those tips, because I think that that's really major, to be accepting, you know, the tips that you can get or the help or the support. I think that that's a really, really big thing. And then finally, I think just ask yourself, like, how much can I actually control? And the answer is not a whole hell of a lot. Oh, zero? Shit. I was hoping it was
you
just
actually
not
can't.
a lot.
No, you control a little bit. You can control.
You do.
Like,
You can control a little bit, but I think that there's actually a big part of stress comes from trying to control the inevitable change.
Right.
And I think maybe let go as a creative, maybe let go and actually try to push for that change and try to push for something that's going to help others accept the change as well. And especially if it's positive changes.
Right.
Even though they can be stressful for some, it's kind of awesome. So we can all reframe it to be super positive and cool, right? Okay, so what did we think after we've been drinking this for a while?
I think it's delicious.
It's not bad.
It's got my cousin's face on it, but that's cool.
Other than that, I mean, that's weird and disconcerting.
I mean, it's a little bit weird. But
it's pretty tasty. I think as it got less cold, it was maybe less tasty.
Yeah, it needed to be
on ice. Like, if I could have like a
and I think you're supposed to drink it faster than we did.
Oh, you're supposed to slam it. See, we're not alcoholics. We drink it too slowly.
I know everybody thinks that we are, but we're not.
We're not. See,
we're getting drunk on the creative possibilities, people, not on Moscow Mules.
Embrace that changed attitude, okay? So there you go. So I know that, other than the job and the relationship changes and everything else, I know that you've gone through a ton of changes, as have we all. Yeah. Is there one in particular you can think of that kind of gave way to a big creative change for you that you came out of positively?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like coming out of just, going through the process of, I would say, gosh, I'm like, it's going really fast in my head, like
Who's manic now, huh?
Yeah. No, I mean, just like all the things that led up to, I mean, we've talked about in other episodes how, I went through my 20s, like putting myself through school.
Yeah.
And I had this very particular idea in my head about like, I got to go to school and I got to do this thing so that I can support myself. And then, going through a divorce and having a child and raising a child by myself, and then surviving on my own. And then really it was like, after I went through that, it kind of just, I mean, all of those things, not to mention my childhood, but all of those things, I feel like they kind of toned my nervous system to this place where I feel like now I have enough experience and self-confidence of going through all of those experiences and coming out on the other side that I feel like, okay, I can, I've always been creative. I've always done art on some level all through my life. And so now I feel like I can really just embrace that because I have enough experience and self-confidence behind me to feel like, but I wouldn't say it was one particular incident. I mean, I know for some people,
for some people they have that transformative experience. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. For me, I feel like I've had so many experiences of change.
I think that's a good point. Like,
that
I think
it does. It kind of tones you, and
It tones you.
and
It does.
toning in the sense that I mean, like,
well, you
know,
grow.
like when you work out all the time, you know, it's like, okay, I feel like I can take those risks because
look at Fiona. Look,
found.
the found.
She's like, yeah, I can really relate to what she's
like,
saying.
yeah, I really changed. Like, I've taken on some creative projects in my day.
Yeah.
I failed a few times.
Yeah.
I pooped in the corner and Mom yelled at me, and I really grew through that.
So gross.
I know, she's so gross.
Little pig.
I know she is. But I think that you're right. Like, I really identify with that as well, where all the changes you've gone through, all the positive points and negative points, like, through trying to make it through, like, you
it's like a psychological workout.
Totally, you end up
You're
having
just like, I can do anything, and you can't. But you think
but you end up having that feeling that
you have that approach.
You do.
You have the approach like, I could do that.
Yes.
I can make the attempt to do that, or I'm going to take the risk to do that.
Yeah, and I think we start to know ourselves better, where we know the things that we are capable of doing and those that we're not capable of doing. And we've had episodes about the power of yes and the power of no. Like, you learn what you can say yes to. That maybe you would never have said yes to before, and also what you can say no to that you would have been afraid to say no to before. And I think that that's like a psychological strength that we get.
Yeah, you get that muscle,
you get that
like
muscle.
the boundary
I think
muscle.
it's definitely the resilience muscle.
Yeah.
It's the embracing things muscle, and it's like when something happens, instead of being like, oh no, it's gonna, you're like, okay, how can I make this good? How can I make this?
And it gives you the
me?
perspective of like, okay, this is a hard day, but it's just today, and it's
just
temporary. And you get the temporary, you get the
Mm-hmm.
temporary perspective of like, okay, I feel like shit today, or I'm tired today, or this sucks today, or this is really great today, or things are going really well, or I feel
like that'll crash and burn.
Yeah, that'll you know,
that's gonna end.
That's not gonna last.
No.
But you know, but you're more able to just kind of like roll with it. You just roll.
Yeah, I think you learn to roll with it, and I would say that even beyond just rolling with it, like try to actually use it to roll further than you would, because I think that change
use
is such
your
a
momentum, like all that weight that I've gained.
Exactly.
You know,
momentum.
use
That's
that
momentum.
Use it as momentum
I'm powerful.
To get your rolling.
My center of gravity is a little balanced now.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like I mean, if I could go back to my younger self and give myself advice, self. No, I mean I wish that I would have just let some things go. Not worry so much about
few shortcuts.
What people think or what people say.
Yeah.
I was so consumed with like, oh, if I do this, then this will happen. Or if I say that, then they'll think this about me. And
true. And I mean, I think that
now I'm just like,
now you're like, fuck you. No, but I think that
I care.
Of course you care.
I care, but
you care about people, but you don't care about what people think.
I'm trying to come from a place where, you know, I'm being.
You're so golden rule.
So golden rule.
You are so golden rule.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think
So
that that's the
golden.
thing. Like there
that.
are no shortcuts, but I think that if you listen to like the experience of old hags like us, like I think that that's kind of a good shortcut, because you're gonna actually listen to us, believe us, and you know, we've been through some shit. So have you guys, but the shit, like you learn from it, you grow from it. So now to talk about change, we have our author friend, Diana Kelly, who who wrote an awesome book about a huge
page turner
about an enormous change. We're gonna let her present it to you guys. We had her as a guest star, and we just have a little snippet. She's gonna be talking to us about how she dealt with change.
And you can watch her creative conversation where we interview her in more depth about the book,
in more detail,
on
Creative Conversations, a special episode. Guys, we would like to introduce our friend, the author Diana Kelly, who wrote a memoir about her life when she was dealing with a male to female transsexual and her relationship. And her book is called
The Sky Turned Green and the Grass Turned Blue, Diane's Story.
Fantastic. And Diane is going to tell us, she's uniquely positioned to tell us about dealing with change. And so we would like to know, how did you deal with something that was an enormous change in your life and in your relationship?
Well, I think initially it was to decide I was going to write the book, but not, excuse me, I was writing it in order to help others who were in the same position that I had found myself in. So as far as that goes, I think that having the decision to write the book so I could help other people, that was part of it.
Did that help you to dissect what had happened to you so that you could look at your change more objectively?
I think that it helped in some ways because as I wrote it, I was actually writing down these events that had been so pivotal to me in the decision making of whether or not I would stay or I would go. And I learned along the way that I was still the person that I thought I was, because I think as
staying
Jack,
true to yourself.
I love
yes.
I love that.
Because I think that as Jack in the story was trying to reaffirm himself, her as herself, and change that identity, watching the morph of Jack to Jocelyn in the story, I started to wonder a lot of things about myself.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Watching somebody else go through a change really does help you to put your own changes into perspective and to start to analyze things a little bit. I mean, I think that probably just like that radical honesty that you discuss in the book is probably a great way of dealing with change. Any other tricks and tips for dealing with like really tough changes?
I think you have to really give yourself time to absorb it. And to you have to reflect on it, of course. There's times you have to reflect on it. At the end of the story, it took me about 4 years before I could start writing.
Wow,
Because
so you
there was
really
so
gave
much
yourself
emotion.
time.
Well, there was so much emotion involved that I really couldn't bring myself to put it on paper. It was, as soon as I would start to write about something, the tears would come, and I would think to myself, okay, you have to get a grip. But it took a long time to do that.
I think that you need patience and to be kind with yourself when you're dealing with change. I
Yes.
think just to realize that this is a process.
Yeah, and I think also because I wanted to write and help people, but I was so unsure if anyone would be interested in the story. And at the time I started writing,
Which
was
to me is
2004.
crazy. Yeah, we're
Yeah, I mean, the story is so, I mean, you like, I was so tired and I started reading it and then I was like, oh, great. Now I'm
great, a page turner.
Now I have to
Fantastic.
stay up and read this because I have to find out what happened. Great. Like you're just thinking, oh, I'm going to go to bed early. And the next thing
And
you know,
you're
you're
lying
just
to
like,
yourself. Yeah, with change, don't lie to yourself, Mike.
yeah. I mean, it's fascinating that you stayed the course as long as you did, and you have, I mean, I think it took a lot of self-reflection and a lot of curiosity. I mean, just to see like, what is my part in this, and where's this going, and what does love mean, and what does it mean with this person? I mean, it sounds like you were planning to spend your life with this person and like grow old with this person.
You weren't planning on that much change, and then I guess change just keeps coming. And I think that's another message, is that change is often inevitable. It's not always positive, it's not always happy, and we have to deal with it because that it happens. And I think that you did that very gracefully.
Thank you.
So I really thank you for speaking with us about it. And if you guys haven't seen the episode where we talk more about Diana's book, we really recommend it because it is an incredible read. So thank you.
Thank you. I've enjoyed being here.
Thank you. Okay.
And this is delicious.
Oh, good. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining us and talking about change. If you have any big changes that you embraced, we would love to hear about it. Comment down below. Follow us on Instagram.
And
very important. And subscribe, because that is gonna, the positive changes that will come about when you subscribe.
It's unfathomable.
It's uncanny.
It's uncanny.
Cheers to you guys.
Wow.
See you next time.
That was funny.
Bye. It was funny.
Cheers.
Cheers.